sorry, let's start with the next beat. And the next beat is called as the replacement model, and this is the theory part of the replacement model that I'm going to cover. So the it is very important to understand why we are going to this replacement model. So as you know, there are different kinds of machines that we normally use. So even if we go to the industries, there are various machines. Military purpose also, there are a lot of equipment that are being used, lot of machines that are being used. Even for the site, no, the site normally now is being using heavy equipments are being used at these sites. Anything starting from the excavation till the finishing works of any building or any infrastructure project requires huge number of equipments, right? And all these equipments are continuously in use in a way or other at a different sites, and all those equipments will get worn with the time and no its uses. And ultimately what will happen at the end of no after end of few years, you will be seeing that, or you will be noticing that it the functions get no the functions are not working properly, or the efficiency of that particular machine is getting decreased, right? So this is the normal observation, and it is happening all the time because the machines are getting wound because of the different uses. So the usage, the more is the usage, after few years, what will happen, the efficiency is going to get decreased. Now for example, a machine requires, if you particularly focus on this point, a machine requires higher operating cost. Transporting vehicles such as the car, truck, airplane requires more and more maintenance cost. So that may happen, right? So if there is any machine, a machine will require a higher operating cost, right? Because of the wear and tear of that machine. Or if you are having a transporting vehicle, maybe a car, truck, airplane, anything, it will require more and more maintenance cost, right? And because of that, what will happen, why this is happening, more operating cost and the higher maintenance cost is because of the decreasing efficiency, right? So now the ever increasing, so no, but it is okay that up to certain extent we are going to invest upon the operating cost, we are going to repair upon the repairs and the maintenance and the operations of this particular equipment. But the costs are going to increase more and more as this equipment is being used, right? So the ever increasing repair, maintenance and operating cost necessitates the replacement of this equipment. At a particular stage we'll be thinking that it is the operation and maintenance or the repair works are taking are incurring huge cost, and why should I particularly incur such a high cost on only operation and maintenance? So we will be starting to think why not to replace this equipment. So now for this replacement, as of particularly we do not have any strategy, right? So particularly however, then there is no exact defined time which indicates the need of the replacement, right? For example, if there is any perishable item, right, for example, we bring the bread loaf, right? हम लोग ब्रेड लेके आते हैं सैंडविच के लिए, तो उसके ऊपर एक्सपायरी डेट लिखा रहता है कि उसके बाद हम लोग उसको यूज नहीं कर सकते, उसको फेंक देना पड़ता है। या कोई ईटिंग का प्रोडक्ट लेके आए, कोई मिल्क पैकेट और समथिंग लाइक दैट, इट हैज एन एक्सपायरी प्रोडक्ट फ्रॉम विच वी गेट टू नो दैट it is not good, or we shouldn't be using this particular product after this particular date. But here now in case of this machines, heavy machines, there is no exact defined time after which we need to replace that particular machine, right? So that particular thing is no very evident, or it is very obvious, we do not have that exact time. So what is the need we require now? The replacement policy in this case, no, we'll have to decide some replacement policy. The replacement policy in this case consists of calculating the increased operating cost, maintenance cost, forced idle time cost together with the cost of the new equipment and the scrap value of the old. So what we can do is we'll have to particularly think of a replacement policy which is considering all the cost, right? So for example, it is considering the increased operating cost, it is considering the maintenance cost, it is considering the forced idle time cost. What is the forced idle time cost? The machine is to be used, but because of the breakage, we can't use that particular machine and it is remaining idle. So it is called as the forced item time cost, idle time cost, right? We are in need of that machine, but it is remaining idle because of the breakdown, because of some maintenance work. So it is called the forced idle time cost. So all these costs are to be taken into consideration. We are also going to take into consideration what is the cost of the new equipment, and we are also going to take into consideration what is the scrap value of the old equipment, right? So all these costs are to be considered, and then particularly we can think of a replacement policy. Or no, you can say vice versa, the replacement policy. When we are going to think of this replacement thinking of the replacement policy, it will calculate, or it will be considering all these different costs, and then we can frame out our replacement policy. This is true for even no, this is the these are the technical terms, but this particular philosophy holds good for lot of the things. Even if we are if I'm having a bike, and if I have to take a new bike, or if I have to replace my bike, so I'll be thinking of all the particular all of this particular cost, and then only I'll be able to think of a new replacement, which bike I'll have to take for as a replacement to my bike, or no what all these particular considerations will be there. Even this is true for the mobiles, right? तो मोबाइल भी हम लोग खरीदते हैं, या जो हम लोग के पास पुराना मोबाइल होता है, so if you are thinking of replacing that particular mobile with some new model, so we do lot of research, and all this research will particularly include all these points in a way or other, right? So the replacement policy should, no, particularly a good replacement policy will have to consider all this particular cost, and then only we can think of a new, or then only we can frame out a good replacement policy, right? Now this is one set of problem, right? Here what is happening in one set of this problem, that the machine is, the efficiency of the machine is decreasing because we are using that machine, right? With we are using that machine timely, time to time we are using that machine, and because of that the efficiency of that machine is going to decrease after some time. This is first case, right? There can be a separate case where what is going to happen is that problems involves the replacement of the items. For example, if I here I was talking about the machines, the cars, and all those things, but for other replacement items, for such as electric bulbs, radio tubes, television parts, etc., which do not deteriorate with the time but suddenly fail, right? There are some equipments or some particular devices which are not going to deteriorate with time, right? Their efficiency is not going to deteriorate with time, but what will happen, they will be suddenly failing, right? So now this in this particular problem, what is the problem in this case is finding which items to replace, and whether or not to replace them in a group, or if so, when this item should get replaced. So ऊपर में प्रॉब्लम अलग था, राइट? यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम अलग है. यहाँ पे हमको क्या डिसाइड करना है कि कौन से आइटम को रिप्लेस करना है, ठीक है? अगर रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं हम लोग, तो एक एक यूनिट में उसको रिप्लेस करना है, या ग्रुप में ही सबको एक साथ ही रिप्लेस कर देना है? और रिप्लेस करना ठीक है, पर कब रिप्लेस करना, ये भी प्रॉब्लम है, right? So the problem here is, in this case, is to finding out the items which needs replacement, whether to replace this item in a single piece, or to go for a group replacement, and if replacement is to be done, when this replacement should be done, that is the problem in this particular, right? So the what is the objective here? The objective here is to minimize the sum of the cost of the item, cost of replacing the item, and the cost associated with failure of the item. So all this, we are thinking of minimizing all such cost here, right? Now this is one, here this is another case. There is one more case in which we'll have to replace the item, and that particularly is because of the obsolescence of the technology, right? So another situation in which replacement becomes necessary is the obsolescence, right? So due to new discoveries and the better design of the equipment, what we do is we make that particular item obsolete, right? So that particular item is why we are doing so is that we are not going to replace it because it is not working. It is working, but no, particularly there is no a different item that has come in the market, which is no having some good qualities, or better design, or there are some new accessories with it, and because of that we are going to make this the item with us as an obsolete item, right? So the equipment needs replacement, not because it no longer performs to the design standard, but because more modern equipment perform with the higher standards, right? So that is the case. So the obsolescence is also one of the reason, right? So what is this? We have seen three cases here. Because of the usage, there is a decrease in the efficiency. The another case is the sudden failure. Some of the items going to sudden failure, and maybe in some of the cases there is an obsolescence, right? So obsolescence is nowadays big headache, because there are continuously new designs, the new discoveries that are taking place. The technology is changing, and there is a better equipment every new day, or every now and then there is a new equipment that is coming in the market, which is having higher standards, higher performance standards than the previous equipment that we have. So very importantly, thus in all these cases or the situation, there is need to formulate a replacement policy to determine the time or age at which the replacement of the given equipment is most economical, taking into consideration all the alternatives, right? So we have seen three cases, but what is not to be the cases for all these cases, we'll have to have some formulation of a replacement policy, right? And what is that? What will that replacement policy will be doing? It will be determining the time or the age at which the replacement of the given equipment is most economical, taking into consideration all the alternatives, right? So that is very, very, very important, right? So if we move ahead and think of the types of the failures, now if we have uh, seen this, but let's differentiate, or no, let's go in a bit detail. So we have seen a gradual failure. So our very first case for related with the equipment is nothing but the gradual failure, right? So gradual failure, it is progressive in the nature. Every day, whenever we are going to use, it is particularly we are moving towards a direction in which the efficiency is going to get decreased, right? So there is this particular gradual failure is progressive in nature. As the life of the equipment increases and its operation, no, its operational efficiency is going to get decreased, right? So how it is going to get, no, the how the operational efficiency is, no, why if the operational efficiency is going to get decreased, what will happen? Because of that less operational difficulty, will be having the higher running cost, राइट. रनिंग कॉस्ट मतलब बार बार आपको वो मशीन को रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा, या उसका मेंटेनेंस तो करना पड़ेगा, ये बार बार आपको ये करना पड़ेगा, राइट. देयर विल बी डिक्रीज इन द प्रोडक्टिविटी, राइट. सो द टारगेटेड प्रोडक्टिविटी और द डिजाइंड प्रोडक्टिविटी won't be particularly achieved. And again, what is going to happen? Higher is the time period, lower will be the resale or the scrap value of that equipment. So that is also going to happen. So it is very evident that the operational efficiency, when we talk about the operational efficiency, it is a collective term, and that collective term consists of this three very, very important points. So decreased operational efficiency means increase in the running cost of that cost of that particular equipment. Running cost मतलब repair का या operational maintenance का cost. Because of the decreased operational efficiency, there will be decrease in the productivity, and because of the decreased operational efficiency, there also will be decreased resale or the scrap value for that equipment. So इसके examples क्या, ये सब these all this what we have seen holds good for vehicles, machines, tires, tube, pistons, bearings, etc. ये सब इसमें ये क्या हो जाते हैं, ये ट्रू हो जाते हैं, right. There is again a sudden failure, right. So sudden failure is some items do not deteriorate with time. They give the desired level of service for some period, after which they fail, right. And the period of the desired service is not constant, but which follows some frequency distribution, which may be progressive, retrogressive, or random in nature. So right. So though this particular equipment are going to suddenly fail, but they are going to serve us for some period, after which they are going to fail. And this period of the desired service it is not going to remain constant, but it is following some frequency distribution, right? Which may be progressive, retrogressive, or random in nature. Now, what is a progressive failure? If the probability of the failure of an item increases with its increase in its life, then such failure is called as the progressive failure, राइट। तो ये इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं प्रोग्रेसिव फेलियर। लाइफ भी बढ़ रही है, अगर कोई लाइफ उसकी बढ़ रही है तो क्या होने वाला है, उसके फेलियर के चांसेस भी बढ़ने वाले, सडन फेलियर के चांसेस बढ़ने वाले ना, तो उसको हम लोग बोलेंगे प्रोग्रेसिव फेलियर। रेट्रोग्रेसिव फेलियर में क्या होता है पर्टिकुलरली, ये प्रोग्रेसिव फेलियर का एग्जांपल क्या आपके इलेक्ट्रिकल बल्ब ट्यूब से हम लोगों ने देखा। रेट्रोग्रेसिव फेलियर क्या होता है, रेट्रोग्रेसिव फेलियर इज दैट फेलियर where the probability of the failure of an item is more in the beginning, but it decreases with the life of an item. Such failure is called as the retrogressive failure, right? So this is holding for true for an automobile engine. So automobile engines are having huge probability of failing at the beginning only, at the initial stage only, and then particularly if it if they are working, then the failure, the probability of their failure is going to get decrease, right? So that is sudden failure की probability क्या हो जाती है, decrease हो जाती है। So this is the graph which is used to represent the retrogressive failure, which is the type of your sudden failure, right? So I'm hoping that you are understanding, right? Nextly, very importantly, we have a random failure also. What is a random failure? Now, if the probability of the failure of the item is due to the random causes, ठीक है, बिकॉज ना एक कोई करंट का बहुत ज्यादा डिफ्लेक्शन हो गया, उसके वजह से कुछ पर्टिकुलरली कोई फिजिकल शॉक, या वो हाथ से गिर गया, राइट? दिस इज नॉट हैपनिंग, इट इज देयर आर सम रैंडम कॉजेस, irrespective of its age, then such failure is called as the random failure. So we cannot draw any particularly frequency distribution for this. Mostly it is related with the electronic items, right? हाथ से गिर गया, टूट गया, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का कुछ डिफ्लेक्शन हो गया, स्टेबिलाईजेशन नहीं था, स्टेबिलाईजर ठीक से काम नहीं किया, वो डायरेक्टली फेल हो गया, ऐसे बहुत सारे चीजें उसके होती है। पर ये क्या होता है, दिस इज नॉट रिलेटेड विथ, इट इज हैपनिंग इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ इट्स एज, right? So it is called as the random failure, right? So no, this failure is particularly represented in this manner because there is no exact probability distribution. We have to represent this in this particular fashion. Okay, right? So this was the theory related with the replacement model. We are going to see, no, there are very simple numericals of this. I'll be making you understand this numerical.